Anthem Blanchard, gold seems like it's stuck at $11.50 an ounce, and this is despite Fed Chairwoman Janet Yellen's best efforts to get it moving. She's keeping rates low. So what will it take to get the yellow metal higher?
Greg, it's a great question. I think ultimately, believe it or not, I think rates are still too high in the sense that I think that what the FOMC minutes back from July told us that were released in August was that the Fed was very, very concerned about the state of the economy and really just completely shattered the narrative that we had been told for a few years, basically, that eventually we were going to see light at the end of the tunnel, we were going to see a rate increase. So, I mean, the numbers have been pretty bad. I think the jobs participation rate was the one that really stood out to me as being particularly bad. So a lot of negative sentiment out there, a lot of negative indicators. Corporate earnings haven't been great. So I think ultimately you're going to have to see quantitative easing and sometime in the next 2 quarters. I think the market's going to need it.
All right, and you like physical gold because there's ETFs out there, but you like to store it in a vault. What's the best way to get gold now in your view? Is it buying American Eagle coins or Canadian maple leafs, Chinese pandas, or buying some bars? What's the best way to do it?
Well, I think it's good to have most of your gold away from you in a liquid form. There's personal risk to having a lot of gold on your person, and also a typical home insurance policy typically covers up to $1,000 and no more from theft from your house. So obviously with our service, of course we'll talk about it, Anthem Vault, it's an excellent way for anyone to basically have the world's top level vaulting and insurance policy, but you only have to have $25 if you want to buy and purchase just a small amount. So it's a great way to purchase little amounts. We actually also have a coin business called amagimetals.com. We actually recently acquired the business, and there people can purchase, Eagles are typically the most popular. I mean, they have the choice of various coin products that we ship to them. So I think having a little bit on your person is a good idea, just so you have it in case of an emergency. It's very portable, but ultimately, in case of a real emergency these days, you really want it to be liquid, right? You want it to be able to have the availability, turn it into spendable cash. So that's what our service enables with Anthem Vault.
All right, let's talk about some other metals. Palladium has been pretty hot because of this Volkswagen scandal. Got a nice little bounce there. And then platinum, on the other hand, has fallen off a cliff. So can you talk about this palladium bounce? Do you think this is going to last?
I mean, I'm not really bullish on, technically platinum and palladium are precious metals, but they tend to act a lot more like industrial metals, like a copper or like a nickel. So I'm really bearish the industrial metals complex in general. So I tend to lump palladium and platinum in that group. Now, I mean, you never know. I mean, maybe if this turns out that other car companies maybe were doing something similar, or who knows, maybe this spurs more investigations and it'll cause greater demand. I frankly don't see it in terms of a counterbalance of slowing global economic demand, where you might see manufacturers, for example, that might need to use platinum to help with environmental pollution. I think seeing the global economy basically slow down, I think is going to continue to be a headwind against platinum and palladium prices.
All right, and then finally, what about silver? It's been stuck around 15 bucks. A lot of expectations for silver, from the people who thought the economy was growing, hasn't really panned out.
Yeah, I think silver and gold have been pretty similar, stuck in this kind of seesaw range. So where you have on the one hand, you've had a lot of expectations of dollar strength, because of expectations of a Fed rate rise. And I think what you're seeing is actually still dollar strength. And I think what that's telling, that the indicator to me is that we ultimately need more than zero interest rate policy. And that's why I mentioned, I think that we're going to see a quantitative easing come out of the Fed very soon. I think that we're going to see credit contraction pressures rear their head again like we did 8 years ago. So those are my expectations, Greg.
All right. Thanks a lot, Anthem.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me on your program.
And thank you for watching The Street.